All right, we are live. Should be anyway. Whisper Nation, let us know. We're jumping out here just a little bit early. We'll get the mock draft started here just shortly. Just let us know. We're doing a little bit of a sound mic check and making sure everything is good on that end before we jump into this mock draft. But I do want to say, what's up, Austin?
What's going on, Johnny?
How you doing, brother?
Oh, I'm doing great. Now I've got our live stream going on into my microphone, which is creating a Lando Lakes situation where it goes and never ends.
Yeah. And you're
No, I'm
you're
doing
like
great, man. How
getting
you
you're
doing?
getting sucked into the vortex of like 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional and all of that stuff. I
Yeah, and I'm
watch,
like seeing what I did 5 seconds ago right to my right, and I'm seeing what I'm doing in front of me a second behind, and then I'm living it
okay,
in the present.
dude, it is so
It's like a
wild.
TikTok video.
It is so wild that you bring this up because me and my wife were having this conversation just yesterday. Do you think that, and this blew my mind, like I had never really thought about this before, but do you
Okay.
think that we are living in the furthest most point in time? Like, right? I mean, obviously, like, I know that, like, there are a couple seconds according to what normal, it's like naturally, like, someone's a couple seconds ahead, right? But
hmm
do you think that, like, what I'm saying is, like, a year there's actually like the time span is actually a year further than what we are at right now, but we are behind in that time. Does that make
So are we at
sense?
the exact present moment? I know
Yeah.
that at least for Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley, they are one step
Ye-
ahead.
oh my gosh, I love that, dude. Genius.
And
I
one
would
could
admit,
argue for Tyreek Hill
I
as
would
well.
I would agree, and one could also argue for Alvin Kamara. Shout out to my boy Alvin Kamara, which we do have an Alvin Kamara video dropping tomorrow. I'm excited for that one. That'll be an exciting and fun one. But I'm a big fan of Alvin Kamara, as you'll be able to tell tomorrow.
I'm a huge fan of the way that man plays the game of football and of life. I am a huge Alvin Kamara fan, more off the field than I am even on the field. Still drafting a pass catching halfback at my first round pick makes me a little uneasy, but the production is absolutely undeniable.
He's he's unbelievable. I appreciate the people who are watching us now. If you can, please jam that thumbs up button, hit that like button. We would greatly appreciate it. It really helps our channel grow. As well as if you're not subscribed, we are so close to 600 subscribers, Austin. We are 5 away from
Three?
600. Is it 3
I think you're
now?
less than that. I
Is it
think you're
3
less than that, my
now?
man.
Oh
I
my
think you're less than
goodness.
that.
I am so grateful for Whisper Nation, but if you are not a part of Whisper Nation right now and would like to be, we're four away from 600. We'd love to have you part of Whisper Nation. Click that subscribe, hit the bell so you get notifications anytime we drop new content, which is pretty much daily, all days but Sundays. For now, till the season starts. But yeah. All right. Should we jump into this mock draft, Austin? Should I stop? Should I stop
I
blabbing
would
about it?
love to jump into this mock draft. I got to ask you one thing, and I know that some folks out there have dealt with similar technical difficulties, even the host of a program. But have you ever gotten your sleeper app uploaded and the players are not populating? The players that you could be drafting are just not in
So
the
this
available.
this happened to Chelsea. Is it happening to
Yeah.
you right now?
Yeah.
Oh no. And this is the problem because you're number one pick. You might have to restart or close out of that, and then this happened to Chelsea. This happened to Chelsea when we were doing our rookie draft. Remember this? Our rookie mock
It
draft
did.
earlier. It did that.
And the real version of it
Yeah, that was a little
as we got
scary. I
going.
felt bad for her.
Yeah. So I'm logging in on
All right. Once Austin gets logged in, since he is the number one pick, we don't want to. We will get this started. Since he is doing that, I'll take over. I'll talk about what this is. This is a half 12 team.
What?
Oh, Austin got excited there. It
The
was.
woman behind the glass is telling me how to make sure this happens.
Oh, got it. She's a G. See, look,
Yeah.
she's like Anyway, so we are doing a 12-team half-point PPR league mock draft here, and I am starting at the 112 position. Austin is at the 101 position, and we have only 2 spots that were not unclaimed, so pretty good. Whisper Nation, how you doing tonight? Pimpin' Ain't Easy asked where the big guy was. Unfortunately,
He's out getting some food with one of our league mates right now.
Yeah.
He's enjoying some time with another league member of ours, and I hope you guys are doing the same. I hope that you are spending time on and off the field, because there is no better dynamic of having than a league of where people know each other. Leagues full of randos do not last. Get some food with them.
That's well said. Speaking of which, we are coming upon our 10th anniversary for our League of Record, Toltem, this year. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for that, which is why.
Oh my God, I know.
Which I don't like when people bring up the fact that we might not have it. So I don't like to entertain that. I don't even like to entertain that. All right, let's jump into this draft board. I'll just pull it up here, so people don't just keep seeing our beautiful faces.
Yeah, I know. I'm so sorry, y'all, about this sleeper's not giving me any players.
What's going on here? So just waiting on. We apologize to those.
All right, I'm in.
All right, Austin is in. He is ready to go. We are ready. We are set. Let's go. Let's start mock drafting here. Again, draft. All right. So Austin, you are on the clock. You've had all day to think about this pick. What do you think? Where are you going?
So what I'm doing on this one, and you and I talked a little bit about this, and I want to let the viewers know our plan for this mock draft. Johnny and I are going to be honest. We're going to be kind of working together on this to try to build the 2 best teams going with 2 different styles. I'm at the 1st position. Johnny's at the 12th position. So we're at the the bookends of the draft. I'm going to be focusing on a run-heavy team with the 1st overall pick. Johnny's going to go upside down and focus on a wide receiver.
Oh, you shouldn't have told him mine, because now FF Fortune has like.
That's okay. That's okay. People are going to listen to this, and I think that we should just let the viewers know what we're thinking and why we're thinking it. And people take our guy, so be it. My number 1 choice right here is Saquon Barkley. I'm drafting Saquon Barkley. I know Christian McCaffrey is getting all the hype, but I can make a very good case of why Saquon Barkley should be just there at the exact same position in terms of opportunity, play style, all those factors going in. But I think that Saquon Barkley is still a stronger talent than Christian McCaffrey is.
Listen, it's almost as if you know what we're going to be talking about on this week's show, because Big Trav and I are going to be diving into that. We're going to be diving into whether or not you should be taking or thinking about taking Saquon over CMC, and whether CMC could possibly regress to where Saquon could take that number 1 spot back. I certainly see. There is a path. There is definitely a path to where he could be the number 1.
That's going to be a great show, and the viewers need to be tuning into that one, because it's a consensus Christian McCaffrey at the number 1 spot as of now. I believe that's a mistake. I think conventional wisdom on this one is wrong, based on the lack of production that Saquon Barkley had throughout last season, and the ridiculous amount of production that Christian Jamal Charles McCaffrey pulled off last year. I think Christian McCaffrey is going to ball out, but it depends on a lot of things. They got a new coach in town. It's going to be a slightly different offensive scheme. And Saquon Barkley's quads are still the big as a car. So I'm taking that over there. But Johnny, I wanted to ask, because now we've spilled the beans a little bit on what we are doing with our drafts.
Yeah.
And I told you right now who my number 1 running back would be. And also Christian McCaffrey is right in that number 2 tier. It's those 1, 2, and Zeke and Dalvin Cook are right there behind it for me, but it's number 1, number 2 right there, and they're pretty interchangeable. Who are you hoping to grab as your top 2 wide receivers, or who would be in that top tier for you?
So Devontae Adams for sure is going to be one of those top 2 wide receivers for me. And you know, the the other wide receiver that I think it's going to be Tyreek Hill because he's going to get a full season. I think that his injuries were a little bit fluky, and I think if you give him a full season, he is going to ball out with that. I think that Kansas City offense is just going to be beyond good. And I think that Patrick Mahomes could potentially get back into the 40 touchdowns. I don't know if he'll get back into the 50s, but I could see a low like 42, or like a low 42, as if there's like a high 42. But it's just I think that he has the ability to do it.
I do too. I love that Tyreek Hill one over there, and especially
and I mean, what am I doing? What am I talking about? Michael Thomas, of course. We're talking about half PPR, right?
we're in a half-point PPR.
Yeah,
That's what this draft is set up.
I'm sorry,
Michael Thomas,
I
clear choice right there.
Yeah, I completely blanked. But Tyreek Hill has that ability. Like, I would not be surprised if Tyreek Hill finished as number 2.
And Tyreek Hill gives you those. I mean, he's going to be a boom or bust player sometimes. I think his bust level is higher than a lot of people think because he is still such a favorite target. He's not a gadget player for them. He is still that number 1 wide receiver who can take it to the house on any play, which I love pairing along with a really consistent wide receiver. Like a few years back, but before Patrick Mahomes was Patrick Mahomes, I snagged Tyreek Hill in the 3rd, and I paired him along with Larry Fitzgerald just to give yourself that huge upside and high floor to try to make for a solid wide receiver duo. Fitz didn't do what Fitz could have done, so that didn't work out that great, but I think the philosophy is sound. So who would you pair along right now? You got Michael Thomas off the board.
Yeah.
You got every other wide receiver, though, on the table.
So this is lovely. This is falling into kind of what we want to show as an example. So I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go Devontae Adams, especially in this position. I'm gonna go Devontae Adams because I think that he is going to give me a very solid floor, but he has the upside to be the wide receiver 1 overall. And then I'm going to take my second wide receiver here, and I'm going to go Tyreek Hill, and I'm going to shoot for the stars with that second. I think he has the floor to be a very solid wide receiver 2 on a bad week, but he has the upside each and every single week, not only to be wide receiver 1 for the week, but to dominate that week as like a 30 to 40 point week for you on your team. So having those two really like a lot.
Now for me, when I look at the big this year,
sorry, Austin.
I see 5.
Sorry, I don't want to cut you off. I just want to catch you up on some comments here. Appreciate all of Whisper Nation chiming in here. So Jacob Lee says, I think CMC will see some regression similar to Kamara did last year. I like that point a lot. Brent chimed in. He said, should have taken CMC. He averaged almost 10 more points per game last year. In Brady's offense, he could still be the number 1 back. You're wrong, dude. Well, the fact, like, points don't carry over. It doesn't matter. Like, Saquon was injured half the season, so I don't, on a points per game basis, we got to look at that. We got to vet that. I want to challenge that because I don't know if it's that big of a gap. And then
even I think those information from the years past is of course important to look at, but there's so many variables affecting this next coming season. It's good to look at where you've been to see where you're going, but it doesn't tell the true course.
Yeah.
Mahomes in the 1st, says Pimpin' Ain't Easy. This guy thinks it's a super flex.
Yeah.
I understand they can't go wrong with a guy you think is the money, though.
Hey, you never know how he might turn it around. And
so I wanted to keep asking you about as we've gotten more guys going off. We're in the 2nd round now, coming back to the end of it.
Yeah.
I see 5 big wide receivers this year. I see in that top tier, and they're pretty interchangeable for me. Michael Thomas, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Hopkins, Julio Jones. I'm not putting Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Kenny Golladay, Adam Thielen, Amari Cooper in that category. Wow. Is there anyone in those 5, though, who you think really clearly stands out?
Well, I would beg to differ. I don't think that DeAndre Hopkins will be a top 5 wide receiver this year. That's going to surprise a lot of people, and they're going to say, what? And like, Johnny, you're a Cardinals fan. How are you saying this? And all this stuff. Listen, one, DeAndre Hopkins coming to a new team. We don't know the extent of, Kyler Murray came out and said this week that he hasn't worked out with DeAndre Hopkins yet at all. He was setting up a mini camp with the Cardinals players on his dime and all this stuff. But it was funny because the NFL basically came out and pinpointed, was like pointing him out, was like, hey, just a warning, you might not want to do this for COVID because it's very dangerous. And so who knows if they actually do it or not. So I actually think that Hopkins, although I think he'll be good, he'll be, still top 10. I would replace Hopkins with Kenny G. I think Kenny G has the ability to be a top 5, top 3 wide receiver this year. I think he's going to go absolutely nuts.
Could be.
Yeah.
I think it's a good one. So it's coming back around.
Have we spoken through all these picks yet, or did we skip?
Well, we've cruised through the second round now. We've gotten Tyreek Hill, Kenyon Drake, DeAndre Hopkins, Julio Jones, Aaron Jones, Lamar Jackson, Travis Kelce, Miles Sanders, Austin Eckler, Chris Godwin, and George Kittle are off the board. This is back now to me at the end of the second round. I'm going running back heavy on this one, and I'm feeling good about who I'm grabbing right here. I'm going to take Leonard Fournette at the end of the second, and the reason for that one is
Austin. But they got Chris Thompson in there, and he's going to take so much of those passing downs from him.
And Armstead is such a beast backing him up, and Leonard Fournette doesn't want to play, and they don't like him over there. Look, Leonard Fournette is an elite talent. He is right up there with the mix of Ezekiel Elliott, Dalvin Cook. He's head and shoulders above Joe Mixon when it comes to a talent perspective. This guy is a beast. He's a little inconsistent. He's got a couple of attitude issues, but mainly because he's mean as hell. And this is the kind of attitude you feel comfortable with having on your running back. He likes to run into people because it erases trauma from his childhood or something. Dude goes hard. He's got no real competition behind him on a run-heavy system. His numbers last year were great, minus the touchdowns, which were more of just a statistical anomaly. I'm going to go ahead and roll out with that one. I love the opportunity that he's looking at, and also in that system. I think it's a strong pick, and to follow it up, I'm taking Le'Veon Bell for similar reasons.
Wow.
Le'Veon Bell is going to be in a run-first system. It's not going to be a run-first system. It's not going to be a pass-heavy team. I think it's going to be a pretty balanced team. And despite how much Adam Gase does not like Le'Veon Bell is hands down the most talented running back that they got over there. Head and shoulders above Frank Gore and LaMichael Pirine. And Le'Veon Bell's going to be catching passes, running the ball.
I don't understand. I really don't understand why. What is up with Gase that he doesn't like these running backs? Like, Kenyon Drake was the same way. Beast running back. He did not want to give him the ball. I don't understand what he has, what his issue is with all of this stuff.
Yeah, we've got Jacob Blaze saying, I think CEH would have been a better pick over Bell. That is definitely a higher ceiling pick. I think that CEH could be a top 5 back. You've got arguably the most talented rookie running back, which is at the running back position, the least, it doesn't matter as much that they're a rookie. You get a good guy, you plug him in, there you go. He's probably going to get the most touches on the best team, but there's a lot of competition over there, and he's still unproven. And I could be wrong on this one, but I'm going to go for the guys I know who are going to be in line, who we've seen it done before, who don't really have any signs of regression. Le'Veon Bell's 28 years old, I think, coming into this year. A lot of tread on the tires, but I'm feeling good about one more season. If it was Dynasty, I'm not taking him. It's not. It's a redraft.
Wow, he's a lot younger than I thought he was. I didn't realize that he was only 28. But
let me double check on that one. I'm wrong
really,
every day.
So our chat is popping right now. Brent is over here. He's throwing some shade. He's saying he still thought it was the wrong decision, and he's saying we need fantasy football counseling. I'm not sure.
I would understand people who go to counseling, people who have been traumatized in their past, like to bring people into that world. And I think mental health is a great thing, my man. I would love to talk counseling numbers on this one. Just share with me your information on this so we can help each other. Just keep your toxic team away from my fantasy team over here. I'm okay on that.
Well, and also it's like, okay, that could help. That could really help out your team. Talking.
We saw after Le'Veon Bell, we saw Mike Evans go, Kenny Golladay, James Conner, Adam Thielen off the board, Mark Ingram, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, setting up Captain Save-A-Ho with his third round pick in the 8th position. Johnny, who are you thinking about right now? Who are you hoping comes around your way?
I'm really just gonna be like water, and I might grab a couple more wide receivers here. Dang it, Jacob Lee. Why did you have to do that? Why? Oh my gosh, I wanted AJ right there so badly at the turn. That would have been beautiful. But I might just grab. I want to assess the position and see what's available. I might grab a running back here. I don't know.
We've also got more comments coming in here saying if Fournette over Mixon, sell your draft for 50% off. I understand that. I understand people saying Joe Mixon's the guy, Leonard Fournette is falling off. But Joe Mixon's a fine running back. But I don't want to call him a jag. He's not. He's got talent. He's got talent. He's got a pretty good opportunity over there. But when you've got a rookie quarterback throwing the ball, when you've got the Bengals who were the worst team in the league last year, I understand Joe Mixon did all right over that, but I don't think that the Bengals are going to do any better than they did last year. And when you've got a above average, but by far no means elite running back over there,
also, wait a second.
I'm not excited about Joe Mixon.
I never said Joe Mixon. I would definitely not take Joe Mixon, or I would definitely not take Leonard Fournette over Joe Mixon. I don't know where did that come from?
No, I said a comment. I think Joe Mixon is in a good situation. Is going to be a productive fantasy back. I think that Leonard Fournette is a more talented running back. If you take team and everything away, let's just set up some cones. Let's set up some blockers and see who performs better. I'm taking Leonard Fournette.
Yeah. Over I don't know. I would probably disagree with that, but I do like Leonard Fournette a lot. All right. I took David Montgomery. Now I'm considering this will probably dry up real fast. So I think I'm just going to. Man, I don't know what I want to do here.
You took David Montgomery, running back out of Chicago, with your 3rd round pick, and the picks following up that I left off on.
And hold on, yeah, I'm going to.
We saw AJ Brown, Chris Carson, and Cooper Kupp taken before David Montgomery was selected, setting up Johnny's 4th round pick. I'm going to go along with Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, and David Montgomery.
I'm gonna go Devin Singletary. I'll go. I was contemplating taking a wide receiver right there and just stacking up the wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like the value that come at the wide receiver position in the next 2 rounds. Even if there is like a big run here, I just think that it's pretty deep between rounds 4 and 7. And I know that the running backs could dry up rather quickly. So, I know I got a lot of hate by taking back-to-back wide receivers, but I want to show this is an example. I want to give I don't normally mock draft this way, which is why I want to mock draft this way, because I want to see how it turns out. And so far I'm liking this. I mean, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, David Montgomery, and Singletary. I think I've got a very solid 4 to start my draft and see where it goes. But I like where I'm going so far.
Ooh, I'm loving all these people getting really triggered by this Joe Mixon Leonard Fournette comparison. If anybody can really show me of what makes Joe Mixon so special, I would be really interested to see that, because I see a guy who runs pretty well. He's not slow. He's not fast. He's not a bruiser. He's he's kind of a guy. He's kind of a guy who gets the rock. We're talking about 328 pounds, 6'1".
Hold on, Austin. You're
4'5", 40.
Hold on. Your audio is clicking for some reason. Maybe tilt your. Hold on. Maybe tilt your. Mic a little
testing
bit.
Audio. Testing
there
audio.
There we go. I think you're a little better. To answer your question about Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon is. We have not seen the height of Joe Mixon. We have not seen the best out of Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon is an extremely talented running back, and we have not even seen a taste of. Speaking of you liking Le'Veon Bell, do you know who Joe Mixon's #1 comp by a lot of really good NFL executives is? Le'Veon Bell. Joe Mixon is comp to Le'Veon Bell, and so he's got the same kind of hitch to his game where he waits for holes to open up and develop. He reads his linebackers or his linemen. He does such a good job, and he hasn't really even touched into what he could possibly be. He has the ability to be a top 5 running back. I don't know if Leonard Fournette has the ability to be a top 5 running back again. He has the ability to be maybe a top 10. But I like him. Don't get me wrong. I do really. Oh,
what was
man,
that word you said right there? You said again? Is that what you said?
Yeah, again. We know Leonard Fournette. It's very similar to this Christian McCaffrey argument that we had going on in the chats that, just because he did it last year, let me tell you what. Please tell me, Whisper Nation, how many running backs that popped off and were extremely explosive the year before and had all these records just like CMC and backed it up with being anywhere near as good as he was? Because I'll remind you of a ton more running backs that were very opposite of that. One comes to mind, CJ2K. Guess what? Went over 2,000 yards. Bunch of people on it. Number 1 running back off the board. Let's go. How can you not say yes to him? And guess what? He burned a lot of people because people bought into it. Saquon Barkley, very similar. But everyone bought in because he is a beast. Don't get me wrong on that one. But again, rookie year flashed off. Was this amazing running back? You don't like that one? How about Todd Gurley a couple of years ago? Had a monster of a year. Everyone bought in. Hey, let me grab that one. And the next year, what happened? Everyone was disappointed because Todd Gurley fell off. He wasn't as dominant as he was. Like, this happens in fantasy football. So, sorry, that was like a very passionate. I got the people going in here.
Oh, I'm loving the activity that people are saying over here. We've got Mixon led the league in forced missed tackles. He's arguably the most elusive back in the league. I got to double check on that one, but forced missed tackles. Okay. I've seen Josh Jacobs and Derrick Henry's name up at the top of those lists. I'm going to have to double check on those ones. Hey, I would love to see these Joe Mixon lovers get their fantasy teams going, but I feel like Joe Mixon's on a lot of losing playoff teams.
Also, and then to jump to, Brent was saying that I should have taken Jonathan Taylor. Hey, Jonathan Taylor is a really awesome running back, but his touches will get limited this year. We have to, like, coronavirus, whether we want to say it or not, is going to affect how these rookies play this year. It's going to happen. They're not going to be. Now, I will say the least affected probably out of those are the running back position because it's easiest to pick up. But Jonathan Taylor is not a receiving back at all. This is half-point PPR. Give me Devin Singletary and a half-point PPR over Jonathan Taylor this year. Now, next year, it will be a different story. I would agree with you then, but not this year.
In the 5th round is where we're at. We saw Odell Beckham Jr. go. That was my pick. Followed by Kerryon Johnson, T.Y. Hilton, Robert Woods, Keenan Allen, Jonathan Taylor, and Tyler Lockett. We're now chilling with Captain Savaho is making their 5th round selection. I wanted to go back a little bit to the 2 picks that I made there to close out the 4th and start the 5th. I went with 2 wide receivers. I started off with 3 running backs, and I wanted to now add some starting wide receivers. I went with DJ Moore and Odell Beckham. I took Odell Beckham because it's a swing for the fence. If that hernia is feeling good, if he slides in, if that Baker Mayfield report kicks in, Odell Beckham is one of those elite talents. We just know how inconsistent his health has been. Attitude questions, system fits, all these things right there. But I'm snagging him in the 5th round. I think that's going to continue to rise at ADP. I do not expect a chance to draft him come end of August. But right now I'm going to take it. And I almost went DJ Moore. I considered Stephon Diggs. I considered T.Y. Hilton. But I went with the guy who I believe was having the most consistent shot at producing. So take a high floor of a DJ Moore and pair it with a high ceiling of an Odell Beckham for my wide receiver duo. That was the thought there.
Yeah, I like it. We had some really good pick. The Kareem Hunt pick by Captain Savaho. That was a very good pick. I was hoping he would fall to me. I would have been really excited if he would have fallen to me. And then, where did you leave off? Sorry, I was reading like some of the comments. We got People are saying they take Gurley over Fournette. That's a little bit wild.
Some people have happy fantasy seasons, and some people take Todd Gurley over Leonard Fournette.
If you are watching this, we appreciate you so much. Please give this a thumbs up. It really helps our channel grow. We greatly appreciate it. If you are not subscribed to our channel yet, please help us get to 600 subscribers. We're so close. Please hit that subscribe button. We've been doing mock drafts every single Monday live, Austin.
Every single one, it feels like, for a while now. It's been pretty fun.
Yeah.
Loving the Fantasy Whisper Nation coming on board here. Loving the contributions. People not just in the chat, people in the room here. We've gotten some folks over here. We got Brent Bunridge. He's saying a lot of things. He said, take Tyler Boyd. He liked my DJ Moore and Beckham pick. He did not like my Christian McCaffrey snub and going with Saquon Barkley. I understand that. It's a radical choice. We're living in a radical world right now. Buckle up, Buttercup. We got Joey 2 times saying Gurley over Fournette. We touched on there. People are getting going. I love the passion. I love the energy over here, what folks are feeling right now in June 2020. Fantasy mock drafts. It's awesome. You went with Darius Geis, Johnny. Close out the 5th round.
Yeah.
Running back out of Washington. When he's healthy, he's performing. He should get a good opportunity to start the year.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Like every time we were talking about this the other day, off camera, but every time I saw him, run the ball last year, I was off of his boat last year. I did not want a part of him. Injury risks, all that stuff concerned me, and so I was off the boat. But then every time I would watch him touch the ball, he looks so good, and I was like, wow. I was really jealous I didn't get him, and then unfortunately he did get injured again. So I was like, oh, well, I dodged a bullet there. But I am fully on the boat this year. I'm willing to take that risk. And obviously with my picks here, the way that I picked my guys, the upside of the back-to-back wide receivers, start this off, I wanted that swing for that, upside RB, low-end RB1. I think that maybe he could get there, maybe. But more of like an RB2, I think, is an outcome for Darius Geis. And so certainly adds to the depth there if Devin Singletary doesn't work out. And then as far as my Marquise Brown pick, so a lot of people might, and let's check Whisper Nation, they might be saying you should have, yeah, I see Brent saying that I probably should have, he's probably going to say, you should have went with Jarvis Landry over Marquise Brown, and I would beg to differ because, yes, Jarvis Landry is a beast wide receiver. He is going to get a ton of targets, a ton of catches, very good in PPR. However, I am swinging for the upside here. Marquise Brown has the upside with Lamar Jackson, who is ranked as one of the top 2 quarterbacks for fantasy. So give me that upside. I already have my wide receivers are locked in. So now give me that super home run hitter. Marquise Brown, put me over the top.
Oh, I love that pick over there. I love preparing it along with what it is of that boom or bust potential. After your Marquise Brown pick, we saw Mark Andrews, tight end for Baltimore, off the board, followed by Dak Prescott, Cam Akers, Jarvis Landry, Darren Waller, Devontae Parker, Russell Wilson taken about middle of the way through the 6th round. We've got the chat saying Brent Bunridge, who's got a lot to say today, says, wow, man, these guys suck at drafting. What happened to you as a child, man?
Yeah,
what happened?
He's like,
it's salty. I mean, it's like, are you by the ocean right now? Are you just inhaling that sea breeze? Are you licking pretzels all day? I don't blame you, man. Pretzels are tasty. You get addicted to the hate. It's a hateful world. I don't blame you, brother. Russell Wilson was the last pick ticking, and from my side over here now.
This is what I have to say for Brent.
You're killing me, Smalls.
That's what I have to say to Brent.
Brent, man, I feel for you, man. It's a heavy world out there, especially in 2020. Especially in 2020, we don't know how to handle our emotions. We don't know how to conduct ourselves in public anymore because we don't go in public anymore.
Hey, this is true.
I love you, brother.
This is true.
Raheem Mostert was taken after Russell Wilson. Popular pick there, leading the backfield up in San Francisco, followed by A.J. Green and Cortland Sutton, which is squaring me up. I wanted to start my draft off with a running back heavy team. I got Saquon Barkley, Leonard Fournette, and Le'Veon Bell. I got 3 guys who should be getting a ton of touches every week. A lot of opportunity, followed by DJ Moore and Odell Beckham, 2 wide receiver ones with a lot of talent who could be able to produce a lot of points every single week, high ceilings, decent floors. So now I'm going to kind of look at this and just see who the best available player is now that I've gotten a couple of these ones. You might be thinking, let's go with quarterbacks, let's go with tight ends. I'm really going to go with best available right here. The top of the board is Kyler Murray. I do like the upside of that play. When we're scrolling through a couple of the other picks, though, with running backs, Damian Williams, nope. DeAndre Swift, I don't like the indecision there. Sony Michel, Ronald Jones, not feeling anybody at this running back position at the wide receiver spot. Nobody jumps out to me. So I'm going to go ahead and actually do something fun here. I'm taking Kyler Murray at the 6th round to close it out.
I love that.
With a quarterback who's got top 3 potential on this one. He's got top 3 potential. I think he's got a better arm than Lamar Jackson.
Quarterback 1 on the year.
He could be.
You heard it here
I'm
first.
not going to go that hard. I don't think he's got the system on his side yet.
They do.
We'll see if Cliff Kingsbury gives him the full keys to the Camaro, but I definitely think he's got a top 5 season ahead and with unlimited upside. So I took him there to close out the 6th, so I saw was best available. And then a couple of wide receivers that are in here. Sticking with this boom or bust situation, Will Fuller out of Houston, Brandon Cooks out of Houston. Which one do you like more? Which one is going to be the boy over in Houston, Johnny?
So I actually, I like Will Fuller because I just think that the upside is there. For your team, I would go Will Fuller because I think he could be, if he stays healthy for a full 16 games, you're looking at a top 10 wide receiver for sure. Brandon Cooks is very solid, though. It's remarkable how consistent he is at the wide receiver position. We don't give him credit for it. He's consistently a wide receiver 2 each and every single year with new quarterbacks. So that's really interesting. I think he is a good value, and people are sleeping on him a little bit for how good he is. We got some good comments in here. Okay, I guess we should explain exactly kind of what we do for those that are new to our channel. We appreciate it. We don't draft what the normal people just draft each and every single time. If I take the same players each and every single time, then it doesn't help our listeners as often as if we give them a bunch of different ways to draft and they pick which one they like the most based on the players that they like. So that's what we like to do. That's what we do a ton of different mock drafts. And if we just do the same format that we like to do each and every single time that we draft, then it would get very, very boring for us. So we switch it up. So that's why we decided to. That's why I went wide receiver. Ask Austin. He is in a ton of leagues with me. I rarely ever go wide receiver in drafts. But we want to give that content to our listeners. So
this is a fun thing that always happens in mock drafts, and why you and I before this talked about doing something a little differently.
Yeah.
There is a competitive spirit that goes through every person who loves to play fantasy football, and that competitive spirit does not stop at a mock draft. You want to win this mock draft as much as you want to win your league championship, regardless of the league that you're playing in, right? Dude. And so you go into these mock drafts being like, oh, my team would beat his fucking team. It's like your team isn't playing. This isn't even your team. This is a mock situation. And these experiences that we have right now in these mock drafts should not be used to being like, look how good my not actual team is. It should give you, the viewer, you, the participant, an opportunity to see how it feels to go and draft guys that maybe you think are a little early. Maybe you're drafting them, you're reaching a little bit on them. Maybe you're going to go ahead and play around with a different strategy like Johnny and I are doing of going, say, one running back heavy, the other one wide receiver heavy, and see how that works. For instance, myself, I like to do running back heavy early, but in these mock drafts, sometimes I'll start off with a wide receiver base and then not draft a running back till the 4th, 5th, 6th round, but invest in that just to see what could happen. And sometimes I come out of this with saying, wow, I was able to lock up a couple of backfields. I got a couple of high ceiling dart throws at the running back position, guys I'm feeling really good about. And my wide receiver core is strong enough to take me into the playoffs. So you do these things you feel uncomfortable with, draft guys or draft positions that you're not accustomed to, because this is a mock draft. No one cares. And we're going to do a new one in 10 minutes afterwards anyways. So work it. Do things you're not accustomed to doing. See how it goes. I took Le'Veon Bell here in the 2nd and or in the 3rd instead of CEH out of Kansas City. If it was normally drafting, I go high ceiling all the time. I'd probably take CEH. But this is a mock draft. We're playing around with these different things. And I encourage you to do the same.
Yeah, I think you said it very, very well. And here's the other thing too. Like, how many times have you mock draft in your life, and then you go to your draft and it is absolutely the same as you mock draft?
Never.
Because exactly. So that's why we do it differently. So that way, when those different chances come up, we're like, oh well, this kind of seemed like this when I was mock drafting. I know how to navigate it, and you end up having better drafts.
Exactly. Pimpin' Ain't Easy in the chat says Fuller should be good for 5 games until he gets injured. I agree with that situation. This is a difficult one. It's probably why he's fallen so far. This is going to be a dynamic offense led by a very good quarterback in Deshaun Watson, and this is the presumed #1 wide receiver who is a real talent. He's going this late because of the injury concerns he's had like literally every day since he was born, but we can't bank on injuries. You just don't know when this is going to happen. I'm reminded of Darren McFadden. When Darren McFadden was God, what a talent. And he played for all these teams and he
Oh
was
yeah.
never hurt and he was never the guy. And Oakland fans were so sad. And then he came in with Dallas and he was the backup. And then he got a couple of shots and he was the guy. And he was taking a lot of fantasy teams deep into the playoffs because he didn't get hurt and he got that opportunity.
Yep.
And so is he going to stay healthy? I don't know. Would I bet on it? No. But you're getting a guy in the 5th round who could be a wide receiver 1. I'll take that risk. Johnny, we saw you go with Christian Kirk to close out the 7th round, and Sony Michel, dice roll running back, could be a good one, but another guy with major injury concerns. How does that factor in with your decision making?
So Sony Michel is another guy we'll talk about in this week's show. We'll dive into a case study done on Sony Michel. Listen, his value has never been lower than it is right now. And what do we know? Like, he is the guy. I understand that he had off-season injury surgery. It was more of a cleanup to my knowledge. Again, this is a little far out. We'll know more as we get closer to the season. But again, based on how I drafted, I am going and swinging for upside. Sony Michel, we've seen what he could do for New England when he runs. They're going to run the ball a good amount there, and they've given it to Sony Michel. So, although he is not a factor at all in the wide receiver game, which baffles me, I still don't get it to this day. But it is what it is. Swinging for upside.
I think that this could be a Stephen Ridley type, LeGarrette Blount type of production coming out of the New England backfield this season. Who that LeGarrette Blount or Sony Michel from years past is going to be, we don't know. I think that Johnny Darrell Henderson, is that their redshirted gentleman from last year?
Yeah. Well,
I think Darrell Henderson.
No, Damian Harris.
Damian Harris, another DH. Thank you.
Yeah.
Damian Harris. Damian Harris is actually who I was hoping to grab in the 2nd round of our Dynasty redraft league. I went with Josh Kelly instead because New England guy was gone. So had to go ahead and pivot on this one. But who's going to be carrying the rock? I just don't think Sony Michel's he's in that lead role. If he gets that opportunity, he should crush it. But I don't think he's going to keep that lead role because I don't think he's a very good running back and he doesn't stay healthy either.
You're right. He doesn't stay healthy.
I like your pick philosophically.
2 of my guys don't stay healthy, and Darius Geis and Sony Michel.
But Darius Geis is a good running back.
Darius Geis is a good running. Sony Michel he's been an RB2. Here's the thing. All I'm doing is I'm taking chances at RB2s, hoping that one would break out at this point. I'm completely fine at where my team is right now. Like, I'm completely fine. My team is really good. And
so after your Sony Michel snag, we saw Keyshawn Vaughn, Deontay Johnson, Ronald Jones, Evan Ingram, Tevin Coleman, Mecole Hardman, and Rob Gronkowski in the 8th round taken. We're starting to get to those places where some of the guaranteed starters, some of the shinier pieces, they're fewer and further between. Where does your head start to go right now? Are you still trying to grab dart throws, or are you ever trying to start lining up your handcuffs? Where's your mind coming into these later single-digit rounds?
So in a normal season, I would, just start grabbing. I would take, dart throws. But I think this year my strategy would change a little bit in that I would start taking dart throws into running back fields that are dominant. So other running back field, and as opposed to, And I think that handcuffs are going to be more important this year than ever because of COVID. And
Mhm.
so I would start pairing some of my guys if I like that offense, right? Um, so like Le'Veon Bell, I don't know if I would be taking any of I wouldn't be taking Frank Gore or P Ryan because I'm not confident in that offense in general. But like David Montgomery, yeah, I'm in I'm in thought process of taking Tyreek Cohen. Not only one because I could use him as a flex if needed, but I'm fine. I think the Bears' offense is going to be decent this year. I think it'll surprise people, especially if Nick Foles gets in there as he should, and as I think he will. And so I think it just depends on what your situation is. I wouldn't be taking handcuffs if you aren't confident in that offense.
Share with Whisper Nation a little bit of the way I like to go ahead and handle these draft situations when it's there. I'm a big believer in handcuffs. I'm a big believer in backfield. I
Yeah.
like to own as much of a backfield as I can versus taking dart throws on backups, on rookies, on things like that. My belief is that if I can invest in we'll stick just with the backfield, running backs. If I can grab from a run heavy, strong offensive line, their whole running backs, especially if one's elite and their backup is a good one there, I'm set for the whole year, more or less.
Yeah.
So that's the way I look at it. I'm thinking of guys like if you can get Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard, if you can get Hunter Henry,
Yeah. Oh, Tony Pollard,
and
yeah, and Kareem
who they
Hunt,
just drafted, the rookie,
huh?
Darrynton Evans. Yeah, if you can grab these guys, you're set up. Like it doesn't really matter,
Oh,
and you
Derrick
can only
Henry, you
start.
said, sorry.
Yeah, but yes, thank you.
Yeah.
If you're grabbing those guys, you're set up no matter what. And you can only start 2 running backs, 3 if you put one in your flex. And so that's what I try to do there. On my pick right here, I did take the aforementioned Damian Harris.
Yeah,
If
I
I
saw
can't,
that.
I'm looking for any actual little other
I like the
potential
Damian
dude.
Harris pick, dude. Like I think that he could break out. Like why wouldn't Bill Belichick give him a shot? Why not? Like Sony is on one of either the second to last year or last year of his contract. Second to last year of his contract, right? Um so I get it. The signs show that Damian Harris could be that guy. That why not give him a chance? Sure, I like it. I certainly do. I do.
We saw Latavius Murray gone, Hunter Henry, CeeDee Lamb. We're in the 9th round here. Looking over at the chat, we said this guy legitimately thinks Barkley is better than
This dude's so
CMC.
hung up on this. Like,
Oh my gosh,
are you?
this is going to be the year.
I wonder if he's like, dude. I bet you he's best friends with CMC. Like, he's probably like really good friends, and so he feels so like, or he's a Carolina Panthers fan, and he's just like,
Christian McCaffrey's a boss, right? Like,
no, he's
dude
really
was
good.
on
No,
the field
I
for
know.
90+%.
I'm saying
He's got all
Brent,
the
like
stuff. He's all there. Like,
Brent is
it's great.
flabbergasted that you would take that you think Saquon is better than CMC, which is
I think
really
Saquon
ironic.
Barkley is a
It's
more
like, yeah, like you're splitting hairs. At that point it's personal preference. Like there's no at this point in July of 2020 there is no you can't say 100% CMC is definitely the right. It's splitting hairs. You're splitting hairs. Personal preference.
I think that Saquon Barkley is probably the most physically talented running back in the league right now. I feel pretty comfortable saying that with all of the factors included, everything there, avoiding tackles, breaking through tackles, throwing tacklers off of you. His role in the system is very well defined. Christian McCaffrey is going to need to get the unquestioned opportunity that he got last year to be able to produce at that same level that he did. And for a guy who year before last was still in 100 pounds level, he wasn't 200 pounds at that point. Like, dude is a horse, though, and the guy is tough. He plays really well. I'm not surprised at all if Christian McCaffrey does that. But I am also not surprised if Saquon Barkley, who I believe is the most talented running back in the league in a good system, does better than he does. But I'm excited to see what's going to be coming out of camp. Excited to see how offensive coordinators continue to talk about this. And we'll go there. Johnny, who are you thinking about taking in the 9th round, 10th round, turn it around?
I might just continue to stack my running back position here, and I'm gonna swing for upside here. Or hold on.
I love this talk of Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley. I'm coming back
I
next week on
know,
this with some
dude.
stronger stats here
Yeah,
on this one. I'm loving this conversation, this controversy that's going on right now. Barkley Gate 2020. Johnny takes
yeah.
Tariq Cohen and Tony Pollard to close that out. Walk us through those picks, Johnny.
So Tyreek Cohen. So like I said, I'm actually a big fan of Tyreek Cohen this year. I like that ADP 9th, 10th round. And I lock up the backfield. He is going to be a nice little PPR flex play for me if I need him. And then Tony Pollard, like I was just mentioning, he is a guy that if Zeke goes down, we know has the ability to be an RB1. And so I will swing for the fence on that. Tony Pollard, give me Tony Pollard, 10th round. Why not?
Who else? So is this so you're going out in the 10th round over here, and you're starting to think about guys who maybe if the guy ahead of him goes down, you got an elite situation like Tony Pollard would be over there in Dallas. Tariq Cohen catches crazy amounts of passes, like more passes than most wide receivers. Tariq Cohen's like kind of a sneaky PPR monster.
Yeah, so I was surprised that Tyreek Cohen had 98 targets last year, which there were only 5. Let me wait. Hold on, I'm gonna like mess up this. There were only like 3 to 5 off the top of my head that I'm thinking about. Wide receivers that caught or that had over 100 receptions. Sorry, but when you're looking at the running back position, Tyreek Cohen had so many targets, and you look at what Nick Foles does. He likes to dump off. We saw a lot of dump offs. So I like Tyreek Cohen. He even has given himself scrutiny, he has scrutinized himself for last year's play and how he wasn't his normal self. He came in overweight, and so I like what he can do. And I'm just taking stabs at running backs at this point. Like all I need is one to hit.
Tariq Cohen too, as we move into a more modern NFL where running backs are catching a lot of passes, guys like Alvin Kamara, guys like Austin Eckler are guys who are, they're not getting even necessarily 15 touches a game. Sometimes not even getting 10 touches a game, but they're getting all these passes that are coming in their way. The systems are shifting. It's evolving. I'm not surprised if Tariq Cohen it takes that jump and he moves into that legitimately productive scat back kind of situation, moving away from a Theo Riddick of old, moving away from a Giovanni of old to a guy who maybe you start him in your bye on and off. Maybe you start him in your flex in a bye week or something like that, but to know like a legitimate every week RB2.
Right.
Tariq Cohen could be that. We'll see what
we
happens
saw
with
it
this
2
new
years
system.
ago. We saw it 2 years ago. So, and who's to say that if Nick Foles comes in here, the offense runs more efficient, like he can still be very, very productive. So I think he'll get back to what he was 2 years ago when he was like a major breakout running back? Probably not. But is he as bad as he was last year? No.
I don't think so. We'll see. Jumping in over here to the chat. If you like what Joe Brady did with CEH, watch what he does with CMC. Could be an exact replay of what we saw last year. And then he's going to be a phenomenal player for all of the fantasy teams that he's on. We saw
I do
Austin
love
Hooper.
I agree with the Joe Brady call. I would agree. Joe Brady has a lot. I have dived deeply into Joe Brady. But the other part about this is that Joe Brady's offense is completely no one really knows what's going to happen with Joe Brady and his offense. That's the big question. Is like we all have these ideas, and even they had him interviewing on the Dan Kirkpatrick show, and he couldn't even fully answer what he was going to do because he's like, I haven't even had time to like meet these players. I don't even, if I walked past them on the streets, I wouldn't know who they are. So we do need to temper expectations that, hey, this offense could come out slow, or this offense could not be exactly what we thought it was. Cliff Kingsbury's offense was supposed to be super explosive, and guess what? It took time before that actually got implemented. Like, we need to pump the brakes a little bit on like assuming that just because last year and what other players did automatically means that just because they come in, that's what they're going to do. Because last year a certain player did this. Like, that's not how fantasy football works. So
there is no guarantee, especially when we're dealing with new systems and new players. We like to think we know what's coming up, but it's a difficult gamble to make. So I like to look at what makes more sense in the situation. Like, CEH should be that lead dog, but they do have a talented group of running backs. I mean, when you look over there and see what Williams did in the Super Bowl last year was very, very good. And
I like that.
I don't know why you would be turning away from that to be given a guy who hasn't seen the playbook yet. Now, if he can perform and step up, it can happen. Is it guaranteed? No, it's not. And then you get guys like a Bruce Arians who just flat out don't want to play a rookie as much. And these kinds of things happen. Locker room squabbles come up. So just those things are important to factor in. Sometimes you can come up ahead on that and draft somebody that should have been drafted earlier. And other times you think you got a snag and it actually just kind of falls out like a Rashad Penny.
Yeah.
So I took Duke Johnson there.
I like that pick.
I'm glad to hear that, Johnny.
Especially because he's the only is David Johnson is the only thing in front of him, and we've seen all the metrics on Duke Johnson that show he's like a really good running back. He just has never been given the opportunity to be the workhorse running back. What are you doing? Why are you taking Baker Mayfield when you already have Kyler
my time ran
Murray?
out.
Oh, okay.
Because my time ran out on this thing.
Like, gosh dang it. I was hoping that he would have. I was wanting to grab Baker Mayfield.
So you can make me a trade on him over here.
Because our teams suck.
So we're going over here. I took the Duke Johnson pick on this one because, they went ahead and drafted traded for David Johnson. I think David Johnson's going to have a really solid year, but Duke Johnson also coming in once again with kind of like that Tariq Cohen situation. Duke Johnson's another guy with injury history, but when Duke Johnson is playing, he's an extremely talented running back. He's 26 years old. He's got an explosive running style to him. And when we're gotten two new running backs that are basically going to be competing for these kinds of touches, you might get an Austin Eckler kind of situation. I know that Austin Eckler benefited from Melvin Gordon sitting out, and then he got an opportunity. I think Duke Johnson's the kind of guy that if he gets that opportunity, he can make the most of it and all of a sudden be a fantasy hallmark in 2020.
Yeah.
Or he ends up just being a guy that you're like, well, I'll start him in my flex if I have to, or maybe I'll trade him to the David Johnson owner. Okay.
There you go.
We saw after my automated Baker Mayfield pick, Matthew Stafford was taken, followed by the 49ers.
That was my backup. I
love Matthew Stafford as a deep. I know I love him as a sleeper pick this year.
He's going to be so good.
49ers defense, Zach Moss, Justin Jefferson, Tom Brady, Pittsburgh Steelers.
You like the Pittsburgh Steelers defense as well. I think that they have a real chance to be one of the best.
They were the first defensive taken in our dynasty redraft.
Yeah. Wasn't by you?
No, I took the 49ers.
Oh, that's good.
I took the 49ers with that pick that Hannon gave me for swapping picks with him because he.
Oh, that's right.
Anyways,
that's right. Yeah.
Long story there. But I took the San Francisco 49ers defense and the Chicago Bears defense.
Nice. Well, we have there's a bunch of defenses coming off the board here. So
Hot defensive pick in the 11th round. What are you thinking, Johnny?
So I will go ahead and grab my quarterback here. We talked about him on last week's show, Ben Roethlisberger. I'll go ahead and grab him as my quarterback. Oh no, did my don't freeze up on? Or did Sleeper freeze up on me?
Did Sleeper go to sleep?
Sleeper might have went to sleep.
On you?
I'm trying to no. And then, hold on. I will take.
While Johnny's looking
Right.
through, we got Brent Bunridge chiming in on the comments saying Johnny is chasing RBs after going wide receiver, wide receiver. This is absolutely what we did. We wanted to go ahead and set up a dynamic where I was at the start, Johnny was at the back, and we were going to go opposite styles. I'm going to go running back heavy and build my team out that way. And Johnny's taking wide receivers to start and seeing what running backs are available, just so you out there in Whisper Nation can see what possibilities exist utilizing different draft strategies. So Johnny, for instance, took Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, two of his top two wide receivers. He followed it up after having 24 more picks come and go, David Montgomery and Devin Singletary. Which, you think about it, you could get Devin Singletary, who could be beasting out this year, could be a run-heavy team, talented running back, getting a ton of touches, which would be arguably, potentially, an RB1 there, and David Montgomery still available there at the third round. And Devin Singletary, similar situation. I'm personally not as excited about him, but you can understand the philosophy of trying to load up these dice roll running backs to go along with those home run wide receivers.
Well, unfortunately, I want to take. I did not want to take Noah Fant, but it's not. Oh, there we go. I finally let me take Ben Roethlisberger. I almost thought I was going to lose out on Ben Roethlisberger too, but at least that's fine. I'll take Noah Fant. I will end up taking a different tight end. That's not the one I wanted. But Ben Roethlisberger, I'm fine with as my quarterback. Daniel Jones is a consideration there. He's got some upside. I'll probably end up streaming, or I would end up streaming in this case, just because that's the smarter thing to do when you're taking these later round quarterbacks. I'm a little bummed that the computer froze me out there on the Noah Fant pick. That was a bummer.
That's what we saw. And then after your Roethlisberger pick, I just got to shout it out from FF Fortune taking my boy Brashad Perriman in the 12th round. We're seeing that ADP starting to creep up.
Dude,
we're starting to see that one rise up.
It was
right
like 14 just a week or two ago. I was so excited, and then now it's 12. And then I told you, what did I say? I was like, and then by the time the drafts come around, he's going to be a 9th or 8th round pick. That's
Brashad Perriman. I'm going to take a point of personal privilege right here and just talk a little bit about the Brashad Perriman hype train, because this could be a league steal for you. And let me break it down on this way. This guy, leading in the last 5 years, has had little to no health, especially to start in his early years over there in Baltimore. But this is a first-round talent, guy who was drafted in the first round by Baltimore, 6'2" with a 4.25 40. 4.3 comfortable. There's even some reports of a 4.19. We're talking freaky speed over here. And at a 6'2" frame. This guy hasn't had a ton of opportunities because of a couple of issues and some health. But last year, he was the third wide receiver over there in Tampa Bay. And when Mike Evans and Chris Godwin both went down, Brashad Perriman slipped into that number one role and closed out the season with 3 consecutive 100-yard games with 4 touchdowns. He beasted out. He was then a free agent. New York signed him for a 1-year, $8 million deal. It's not a cheap deal, but it's enough to say, hey, we want to see what you're about. We'll see what's going on, and maybe we can talk later if the season goes the way we all hope that it goes. He's slotted right now to take over that Robbie Anderson role. He's slotted to be the number one wide receiver for third-year quarterback Sam Darnold, pairing along with Jamison Crowder and Le'Veon Bell. We haven't seen him there. He hasn't been in that system before. He's never been consistent. But we're talking about a 6'2" speed freak slotted to be the number one behind a third-year quarterback, and they went out and got him. I like that in your double-digit selections.
Yeah, I think that he's definitely someone that I was taking dart throws on. I mean, still a 12th rounder is still. I'm still fine giving a 12th rounder. I would be fine giving an 11th rounder, 10th rounder. Maybe I think that's where it starts to get like, okay, now I'm having real consideration, because it's like, Jalen Reagor, John Brown, Emmanuel Sanders. Those are the guys that. Sorry, Mike Williams. I can make an argument that I would take him over the majority of those guys. I would be fine. So I think his ADP still has a bit to go. But like I said, I think it will continue to grow. I'm on it. I'm on the bandwagon, fully.
I want to say too, with some of other members here in the fantasy room, I'm loving some of these other wide receiver picks here with excuse me if I get these usernames wrong. Rely T. Dyer. Alshon Jeffrey, 12th round. Oh my God. Alshon Jeffrey is a guy who just breaks my heart all the time. And you don't know when he's going to be good this year to start it off, but the coaching staff has come out and said that he is going to be a big part in our scheme. And if Alshon Jeffrey is the number one, when he plays, he's actually good. Like week in, week out, it works. He's a very fine wide receiver 2-3 for you. It's just that health, that inconsistency. Oh boy. It's so painful to watch that guy run up and down the field. And then Sammy Watkins over there too. You and I got in a heated conversation about Sammy Watkins. I think he could surprise some people this year, though. I mean, this is still a talented wide receiver who's 27 years old, I believe.
Wait a second.
They kept
Did
him
you
around
just
this
say
year.
Sammy Watkins can entertain people or can still help people?
He could. In a 12th round selection, I like that. I don't like it really much any higher than that. I don't expect to see his ADP continue to rise.
No, you want the truth? You want to know how Sammy Watkins
Always.
could really help?
Always.
Could really help people? Just retire from football already and stop giving people hope that he could be something, because each and every single year we wish the same thing, and he teases us. He teases us with one good game and shows his potential, and we're like, it's here. It could be Devontae Parker, maybe. Huh? Maybe? Could it be? No, it's not. It's going to be a false prophecy. And watch, this year will be the year, because I'm making this rant and saying how much he's not going to do it, and then this will be the year where Sammy Watkins is actually breaking out for an entire year.
Sammy Watkins, a lot of the things we said about Brashad Perriman minus that 40 speed, we could apply to Sammy Watkins. In terms of high pedigree player, talented guy, and there is a world where he finds himself pretty high up on the depth chart. He was the number 2 wide receiver last year. Technically on the depth chart. If anything happened to Tyreek Hill, a lot of people are feeling really good about Mecole Hardman. A lot of good reasons to do that. But Sammy Watkins, there is a world where he is the leading wide receiver for Patrick Mahomes. He's going to need some injuries to happen for that to go down. But if it does, you could be finding yourself in a very, very beneficial situation. There's a lot of ifs. I don't feel really good saying that about that, Whisper Nation. If you want to grill me on that one,
I mean, how many times can you go with a 12th rounder and be like, not have ifs? I mean, it's kind of hard. So,
and you know, when I get into this part of the
that was Buffalo. I am telling you, Buffalo is going to have the number 1 defense in the league this year. They are so good. They are so good. And they got low key. Did you know they got Josh Norman? Like, not saying Josh Norman is the Josh Norman that he was in Carolina. I understand he's taking a step back, but now he's not the number 1 corner anymore. He's guarding your number 2 wide receiver, and it's like, okay, I'll take Josh Norman guard. That's like Antonio Cromartie when he came to the Arizona Cardinals a few years ago. It was like he had lost his step, and it was like, all right, but I'll give him on my number 2 all day long, and he ended up actually having a really good year that year. Love the Buffalo Bills defense pick, and look, you got him as the six defense off the board. I like that one a lot.
I also love those teams that are going to be playing outside come the end of the year. Weird stuff can happen over there in snowy games. So if you can grab some of those, I'm all about it. Turnovers. It can be a high scoring game too, but there's just going to be turnovers, fumbles, ball pops out, it's a touchback, all kinds of weird stuff ends up happening. Following that pick, Carlos Hyde, backup in Seattle, OJ Howard, Brandon Ayuk. Rounding out our 13th here, I want to take a look at some of the other picks that our boys have grabbed up here. Some teams are shaping out.
We do Brent says his goal is to get us to be the best in the industry. We appreciate it.
Oh, Brent, we appreciate that.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Dude, we really appreciate it. We have fun with you. It's all in love. We're all here. It's a community. We're here to have fun, enjoy our time.
Make each other better. I love these points. And I am going to be digging in, and I'm going to come back to Brent and whomever else was in this thread with my justification of the Saquon Barkley pick.
Brent
there are a lot of stats here.
Brent and Joey, we better see you guys back next week.
We'll see you back next week, Brent and Joey. Come and get in the draft room.
Yeah.
Come and bring some of this typing to the room over here. Take the typing, make it clicks instead. Click your players instead of talking about everybody else's player. We'd love to have you in this space. Come on board, folks. We're here every Monday and many times in between. Love to see you there.
Hey, and if you guys, if they like this, if we need this energy, we will be doing a 24-hour mock draft marathon coming up. We will do that in August. So they're loving this hour-long show, one single mock draft. I can't wait to see what they're like with 24 hours of nonstop mock drafting.
It is a endurance test, a test of your friends' relationships with you, a test of your island strength, a test of your love for this game. And they stood up so tall last year. We can't wait to do it again this year.
Dude,
Oh man, am I
it is
excited!
kind of crazy how like emotionally drained you get by talking for just 24 hours nonstop. That does get very, very difficult. But it is a great time. It is a lot of fun. We will have a lot of guests on there, a lot of different fantasy shows. If we have Whisper Nation on there joining in the mock drafts as well. So it's a lot of fun.
That is a lot of fun. Johnny, when's that coming
Joey
up this year?
says you don't want this smoke. Yeah, we do, Joey. We beg for it. Come on. We want you to join in on the mock draft, sir.
Bring the smoke show to the big house.
Yeah.
Take it over here. Fill it up with a smoke room. Usually got to pay for that extra kind of equipment. This guy can just walk in, make it happen.
Yeah.
Bring it, Joey, 2 times. Let's do this. So, Johnny, right now on the 13th pick, is anybody you're hoping that you're holding out to right now? What you looking to close out your draft with right now with your next 2 upcoming picks?
Well, I would love to grab another tight end here if I could, and because I didn't like the one before, and then I'm going to actually finish this draft because here's the thing. Normally we say to people, especially if they're drafting early, to skip out on the defense and kicker and take flyers. But I will actually draft a defense and kicker this time. So I'm going to take Jonnu Smith for tight end. I love him as a breakout candidate. Really, really poised. Finally, Delanie Walker out of the way in Tennessee, and Jonnu Smith has shown a lot of promise. And actually, it was funny because Delanie Walker was actually the idol of Jonnu Smith growing up. Like, he really, really liked his game and kind of developed his game similar to Delanie Walker. So given a full workload, he kind of showed a little bit. He was injured a little bit last year as well. So I like that pick. And then as my so great. Give me Greg the Leg Zuerlein as my kicker. He's going to be kicking a ton of field goals there in Dallas. Extra points, long field goals. Love Greg.
You know what I wanted to take a second. I'm looking at these chats over here. Brent Bunners, love you too, man. I can't take CMC number 1 just because of the love I have for you, Brent. I'm sorry, but I'm coming back next week. Going to analyze this a little bit more and have a whole new case for the situation. I do want to touch on one thing, though, that the other Whisper Nation members here brought up, and that was CEH out of Kansas City. Clyde the Glide, the new man with the slides. Why did not take him? That was so bad.
That was, yeah.
But I got a point here. If I could go back now, would I take Le'Veon Bell over CEH? I did, and I would stand behind that because of the higher floor and the guaranteed production I expect coming out of Le'Veon Bell. But if the question then is, would you rather have Le'Veon Bell or the starting running back for the Chiefs? I'm going with the latter. Of course, I'm rather going to have the starting running back for the Chiefs. Honestly, whoever that ends up being, over Le'Veon Bell. And so now when we get to take a look at this draft room of how it broke down, I see that now I would have had an opportunity to snag CEH there in the 3rd, and we didn't see Damian Williams going until
way later. He went 7-10. 7-10.
He went 7-10. So the 7th round then was taken there. So looking back there in hindsight and making my own draft day plans, I'd say, you know what? If I was in this spot, I would definitely rather take CEH, and then at that 6-7 turn, instead of taking Will Fuller, taking Damian Williams instead. And that then sets me up to say, like, you know what? No matter who it is, even if they split the backfield, I got a great situation. One of them leads. I've got an elite running back. And if there's any injuries or disputes with anything like that, I'm set. So now looking in hindsight, I would have done that differently. I would have taken CEH in the 3rd and taken Damian Williams there in the 7th. And then that would have been that.
Yeah. And that's what you do with these mock drafts. We learn. Michael Pittman. Brent was hoping for Michael Pittman to come off the board. He wanted me to take him. And listen, if I wasn't doing this strategy of taking the kicker and defense here, I would have taken Michael Pittman because I do like his upside. I do think he's going to be a good wide receiver. But again, he might come out of the gate a little bit slow because he is a rookie wide receiver. But I do like his upside, certainly. That is a late round flyer that I am certainly looking at. So is N'Keal Harry, very interesting guy as well. That FF Fortune picked up there right after I took Greg the Leg. You got some nice little pieces. Naheem Hines in the 14th round. I like him as a half-point PPR. He's getting a lot of hype there as to him being that pass-catching guy. We've seen how many Austin Eckler last year got a ton of dump-offs from Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, I think Naheem Hines is a sneaky pick right now that's going to be rising in ADP as more of these conversations come out. I don't want to just. This is the last thing I want to say about for the backfield dispute here. Joey 2 times says because Damian Williams isn't gonna hold CEH back. He probably shouldn't. I mean, Damian Williams has played really well for the Chiefs. Let's put a little bit of respect on the man's name. Helped them win a Super Bowl. Has played really well. He's a journeyman. No one
could have been the Super Bowl MVP. Some people could argue, yeah.
And all I'm going to say with this one is nobody thought LeGarrette slow-ass Blunt should be holding Kerryon Johnson back. And where were we at? So
that was Matt
coaches
Patricia.
don't always do what they should do, and especially not for fantasy purposes. So, yeah, Damian Williams, we don't expect him to hold him back. Nobody expected LeGarrette Blunt to be holding back Kerryon Johnson. All right, I'm in my 14th pick here.
Yeah, what do you think here? You're gonna take? Well, I've never asked you. What are your late round dart throws? Like, who are the guys? I mean, Pittman or Brashad Perryman obviously was one of the guys. Knew about that one. What's another guy? Wayne Gallman. Okay, so you're.
I'm just locking up my backfields right here. I took Raquel Armstead earlier.
Dion Lewis got traded there.
I think Dion Lewis is going to have a good hand over there catching the passes, but I think that Wayne Gallman, and we'll see how this shakes out. But more if Saquon Barkley was to go down, who's getting that early down work? My money would be on Wayne Gallman. That's right now. That could change. And any little news blurb that came out that said Dion Lewis would really like what he's doing, and we're planning on getting him touches.
Either way, yeah, you can get him. No one's taking Dion Lewis, so you would just replace that with.
Yeah, you just try to stay on top of it and pick that one up there. As far as my dart throw, you know what? I'll go ahead and for the sake of this conversation, take a dart throw here on tight end Jack Doyle. Now, I know that this isn't a super shiny pick, but Phillip Rivers does have a history of connecting with his tight ends, whether it's he's got a long history of connecting with his tight ends. He's over there now. He's also a year older. And Jack Doyle can catch volumes of passes. He did it a lot at Stanford. He had years where he did it with Andrew Luck. He does have baby hands, and he could end up disappointing that team and just being like, nope, we're not going to throw you the ball because you suck. But he also could level up. He could fill into that role. I think he's going to have the opportunity to do it. And as we say in fantasy, I'm taking opportunity over everything.
I can't hate you on that one. I think Jack Doyle could. It would be interesting. He's definitely a guy that I'm looking at or going to keep an eye on in preseason. Certainly, I think a lot of these late round tight ends are very, very interesting this year. And I'll be watching a handful of them because I think within there's going to be one guy at least that has the potential to break or that will break out, just like there's been for the last 3 straight years. So I have a couple of guys that I like. We've talked about it on the show, and I took one of those today, Jonnu Smith.
Joey 2 times says Andy Reid is not Matt Patricia. No, he is not. He most certainly.
Thankfully, he is not.
I think for every Chiefs fan that he is not.
Yeah.
I don't expect for this to happen. I think that CEH is probably going to start off the season being very productive and end the season being a home run player for you. That's my expectation. But when you have rookies, you just cannot bank on anything with it. Even though he was the first running back taken, this is not a guy who was taken like first overall, not in the top 5. This was not a an Ezekiel Elliott or a Saquon Barkley, or even a Leonard Fournette kind of draft. This is a guy who's like, okay, who's going to be the first running back? Is it a Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift? Oh, CEH was the first one taken. Okay. I think that he is going to be that lead dog, but we just don't know. And so if I could go back in time though, and I would take CEH at the third spot, and I would take then Damian Williams to make sure that I had, no matter what happened, covered up right there. And Wayne Gallman, I'm just taking it because if Saquon Barkley goes down, Wayne Gallman is the number 1 pick off the waiver wire that week. I'd rather take a Wayne Gallman than say take a Justin Jackson, who even you just really never know. I'm only taking Wayne Gallman because I have Saquon Barkley.
Right.
Closing out the 15th round here, setting up Johnny for the final pick. We've got Jack Doyle, Randall Cobb, Justin Jackson, Michael Bagley, Young Ho Koo, Matt Gay, Matt Prater, the Los Angeles Rams defense, the Vikings defense, Tyrell Williams, Anthony McFarland, and Johnny's final pick. Who's it going to be?
I'm going to go a defense. Well, Dougie said everyone says rookies have no value. All the top backs came from somewhere. No, we totally agree. Like, we're not saying that running backs. Not what we're saying.
Guys have tons of value.
Yeah, the rookie running backs have a ton of value. We aren't saying that. We're just saying that with this year, because of Corona and you can't bank on them, they are a little bit more risky, which is why he's going at the second and third round, because there is a little bit of risk there. But I agree. I love CEH.
Christian McCaffrey was taken top 15 pick, but Jonathan Stewart was still the lead dog there for a while. David Johnson was an absolute beast, but he was third string running back behind that Bruce Arians system for quite some times.
All right, so we will do that completes the entire draft. We will do draft grades real quick. We'll break this down. Appreciate everyone who mock draft with us. We had a great time. If you are watching right now, if you are one of the current followers, please jam that thumbs up button, hit that like button. It really helps our channel grow. We would be very, very grateful. All right, now, and if you did like our content and enjoyed it, please consider subscribing.
If you didn't like the content, subscribe anyways.
Yeah.
You don't have to, but it makes us feel we get a little endorphin rush every time we see that little thing go up. So
yeah, help us get to 600. We
appreciate
close.
You.
We are very, very close. All right. So let's jump into these draft grades here.
All right. How about we do it like this? I'll run it down, and then we can give a quick sentence or two about them, what you like, what you don't like, and then your grade A through F.
Okay.
Okay. We'll start off on the back side. Should we factor in our teams first, or do everybody else's first?
No, I think we've talked about our teams enough through the chat.
I agree.
So let's just go with we'll start with FF Fortune.
Fortune, the 11th
shout
pick.
out to FF Fortune. He has been on each and every single week with us that we mock draft. So we appreciate you.
We do appreciate you. Let's take a look at your draft, FF Fortune. Nick Chubb, Kenyon Drake, top 2 running backs there for him, followed by Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson, Stephon Diggs, Mark Andrews at the tight end position, quarterback Josh Allen, running back Keyshawn Vaughn and Darrell Henderson, Emmanuel Sanders, Baltimore Ravens defense, Brashad Perriman, Harrison Butker, N'Keal Harry, and backup running back Anthony McFarland out of Pittsburgh. I like this team, Johnny.
Yeah, I mean, there's a good balance between the wide receivers for me. I'm not as big of a fan of Cooper Kupp as most people are. But I'm a huge fan of Allen Robinson. I think that's his best wide receiver he has. And I'm also a little bit down on Stephon Diggs. But between Cooper Kupp and Stephon Diggs, I think he'll be okay. But I like what he did at the end of his draft to really solidify what he did here. The Anthony McFarland pick. Speaking of rookies that I really like, I think Anthony McFarland is a great late round stash. Or dart throw, Brashad Perriman that we talked on and on about, N'Keal Harry. So I think he did a really good job here. I would give him probably B plus, A minus on that ledge just because of the Stephon Diggs and Cooper Kupp. But I understand that people do like those wide receivers a lot. So if you told me,
I love him as a combo. I love Cooper. Like, I agree with you. Cooper Kupp to me isn't as exciting. And I like his actual 2 wide receivers behind it even more. But when you put all those guys together, Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson, Stephon Diggs, this is very high upside wide receiver core.
Yeah.
Very high wide receiver upside on that. And Nick Chubb and Kenyon Drake also high upside. Good floor. Mark Andrews, we know what possibilities he has of one of Lamar Jackson's favorite targets. The only thing I would have liked to see on this one is to add in another quarterback in case Josh Allen just doesn't go at it as hard. But if Josh Allen's your boy, no
I
need there.
like
I'm
it.
giving him an A.
And
I'm
he's
giving him
got
an A.
that, you know how much I love the double dip, that chip.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So Jay
So
Blee.
moving on to Jacob Blay.
Yeah,
Hit us, Johnny.
this is our boy Jay Blee, supporter of the show. We really appreciate this guy. He is always supporting our content. We really appreciate him. So he jumps in here, takes Derrick Henry in the first, Julio Jones in the second, AJ Brown in the third. You know how much I love me some AJ Brown, and Juju Smith and Terry McLaurin in the fourth and fifth. That wide receiver stack. So if we kind of like this strategy we call this one the RB anchor. It's looking like that's what he did. So he took a running back in the first and then just loaded up on these wide receivers. And then once he had his wide receiver set, he just bounced back over to running backs. And look at this, grabbed a bunch of high upside rookie running backs, Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins, and then Ronald Jones, James White. And then grab John Brown, Hayden Hurst, A.J. Dillon, Justin Tucker, and Ryan Tannehill as his quarterback, which I actually secretly kind of like as a late round dart throw.
Me too.
Why? Yeah. So I really like this team. I really like the upside. I mean, his wide receivers are dominant. You like the wide receivers of FF Fortune. I think that Jay Blee has amazing wide receivers, and I understand a lot of people are going to say Derrick Henry, it's a PPR league, but that dude is a beast, and he got him at 109.
He's a beast in any league you're playing in. It doesn't matter. Touchdowns are 6 points everywhere.
Like I said, like Cam Akers, I'm a little bit lower on Cam Akers this year just because of I'm mostly because that offensive line and the fact they have the most difficult running schedule of any running back or running back team. And so those two things combined, I just think this rookie year will be a little bit difficult for Cam Akers. But J.K. Dobbins, I mean, talk about last year, game at the end of the season, someone who can win you and pop off on a win you a league. I think J.K. Dobbins could do that.
I think Jacob Blay's got a fantastic team right here. I'd give him a B+ on this one. I think Derrick Henry and Julio Jones might be the best 1-2 that we have. Arguably elite running back, elite wide receiver. It's tough to do at that spot. He's going to be starting 3 wide receivers every week. He gets to fill in. Who does he like? Terry McLaurin's beasting out, hitting the hype. Maybe Juju Smith-Schuster is playing how he did last year. Okay, who cares? You got enough guys between those 4. You're stacked with John Brown as another fallback for you. And then you only need to start 2 running backs. Derrick Henry is locked and loaded in your position every week. I would have liked it if he was able to get the handcuff for him and then really be set up. But aside from that, his second running back is either going to be Ronald Jones, J.K. Dobbins, or Cam Akers. It's true that all 3 of these guys could mean nothing in fantasy, but all you need one to hit, one to be reliable and just getting enough touches. And I think there is a world where one of those 3 guys does it. And if none of them do, it's James White. Fine. That's your wide receiver. That's your running back 2. You're dealing with an elite running back and a meh running back, but then you're stacked at wide receiver.
Hayden Hurst, good upside tight end. That's a later round tight end. Yeah, he's and AJ Dillon.
Yeah.
Like, talk about a guy who could have just a bunch of touchdowns. Don't be surprised if AJ Dillon has 10 touchdowns this year.
No, that's it, right. That's another one. That you get him so late right there, and that could happen there.
That's great. I don't want to give a grade on him yet because he might be an A+, but I just want to hold reserve because I want to check out some of these other teams first.
All right, I'll break it down now for Captain Save-A-Ho. Patrick Mahomes at the quarterback position, running backs Aaron Jones and Melvin Gordon. DK Metcalf was his first wide receiver taken, followed by Kareem Hunt. Jarvis Landry, Michael Gallup. Other wide receivers, his tight end starting is going to be Evan Ingram. Alexander Madison was picked up in the 9th. He's got Matt Ryan as a backup quarterback. Then he took a run of wide receivers: Sterling Shepard, Sammy Watkins, Jamison Crowder, Michael Pittman Jr. in the Rams defense. Love the Patrick Mahomes pick the first round, though. You're definitely paying for that premium on him. Aaron Jones, I mean, I was a big Aaron Jones fan last year, but I think they want to make this a committee situation. They go out there and they draft AJ Dillon, and for some reason they kept involving a lot of folks in the backfield there, and Jamal Williams, of course, still over there. So I don't think Aaron Jones is going to be seeing the same kind of production. Melvin Gordon could be, but Philip Lindsay's never really disappointed as coaches. So I think you're going to be in a divided situation over there. Jumping over DK Metcalf for a second, Kareem Hunt. I love Kareem Hunt as a flex play. He's going to be getting third down work. They're talking about actually making him the third wide receiver over there. Elite handcuff as well. But when you pair it along here with Aaron Jones, Melvin Gordon, Kareem Hunt, there's no hard stability there for me.
Yeah.
You get Melvin Gordon, who what if Philip Lindsay surpasses him? And so then Melvin Gordon is kind of a faded player. Aaron Jones could be part of a three-headed monster. Kareem Hunt is the number 2 at best already. And then you're putting in DK Metcalf as your number 1 wide receiver. He's still the number 2 choice for Russell Wilson behind Tyler Lockett. Jarvis Landry is still technically the number 2 over there behind Odell Beckham. I know a lot of people are saying
I like the
it could be Jarvis,
Landry,
but
I like the Jarvis Landry pick, but then it's like the Michael Gallup here. But he did take Sterling Shepard, which is I like Sterling Shepard. He got him in 11. This is a Patrick Mahomes would carry this team if this was going into a real draft. Patrick Mahomes could carry this team to be reasonable. I would give this team probably a B minus. It has potential to go up. It has upside for sure. But it's just it's lacking a few pieces to make it a real solid foundation of a team as of right now. We can go on to the next one.
Yeah, I'd agree with that ranking there for you too.
Right.
Yeah, next one. Hit us, Johnny.
All right, we got Riley T. I can never say this one. I apologize for messing up the screen name, but it took Michael Thomas at the first pick. I like that a lot, followed by Lamar Jackson, CEH, Todd Gurley, Tyler Lockett. Darren Waller, really liking this team actually a lot. Tyler Boyd, Tevin Coleman. So he did a very, very balanced draft style, so I like that. Henry Ruggs, upside wide receiver. Drew Lock, Pittsburgh Steelers defense. We talked about how much we really, really like Pittsburgh defense. Alshon Jeffrey, who you like. Preston Williams, a very dart throw sleeper that a lot of people are talking about. Naheem Hines, talked about how much we liked him. I like this team. I would say that this is a very, very solid team. The upside of this team is certainly the best team, I think, because you're pairing Michael Thomas with Lamar Jackson, and we went on and on about how CEH could be such a dominant running back. I think that this team could compete for sure down the road. I like the draft style. I think well balanced. I don't mind where you took Darren Waller. Yeah.
I love the fact that he paired up Michael Thomas with that anchor wide receiver and then Tyler Lockett and Tyler Boyd.
Yeah.
That's Tyler Lockett and Tyler Boyd are both slotted near or at the top of that depth chart. Tyler Lockett, people are really getting high on DK Metcalf. I don't know why Tyler Lockett should be faded. Russell Wilson loves this guy.
The number 1 there.
Tyler Lockett is beloved by Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is a man operating on different frequencies. Tyler Lockett is 27 years old. Tyler Lockett has played really, really well. We're still playing in a PPR format. I love that pick. And then Tyler Boyd, AJ Green, I know is back, but there's a lot of question marks with AJ Green. And Tyler Boyd has played pretty darn well. They paid him. They want him over there. And it's their third wide receiver.
Yeah. And then you look at the running backs, like Todd Gurley and CEH. You like both of them. You only have to start 2. I like those 2, but Tevin Coleman, I like the upside pick here because Tevin Coleman, we don't know who is going to be the starting running back there. We think it's Raheem Mostert, but they brought in Tevin Coleman. They paid him a lot of money. We've seen the upside of whoever gets the ball there. And so I don't mind spending an 8th rounder on Tevin Coleman to take the stab at, the RB1 and then Naheem Hines. I like that team a lot. All right, moving on to Dougie83. I would give that one. I would give it a solid A. I would really give that one an A. It has the potential to have an A plus. I think it's really, really good. I would still go with. I would choose Jay Blee's team over that team as of right now, still. But the upside I think is definitely greater for because the upside of Lamar Jackson is just
I love this team. I'm gonna sit with them on an A right now too.
okay.
Next one here, breaking it down. Dougie83 takes Joe Mixon, my boy Joe Mixon,
Yeah, your boy
followed
Joe.
by Trap. In this, I'm sorry though, in the 6th spot though. Well,
I'm fine with it.
yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. Joe Mixon, followed by Travis Kelce, tight end out of Kansas City. Mark Ingram, still the lead dog over there in Baltimore, followed by DJ Shark, wide receiver out of Jacksonville. Jonathan Taylor, running back in Indianapolis. Devontae Parker, hello, Devontae Parker. He has arrived as of last season, wide receiver out of Miami. DeAndre Swift, rookie running back in Detroit. Mecole Hardman, Jerry Jeudy, Jalen Reagor, a string of wide receivers selected, followed by Thomas Brady. Antonio Gibson, running back out of Washington, closed out his draft with the Redskins defense. Why? Kirk Cousins and Matt Gay, kicker out of Tampa Bay. That is how he finished his year. I just said all those words. Let me go ahead and break it down from my perspective. Joe Mixon, fine. We'll talk a lot more about that next week. Travis Kelce, best tight end in the game. Mark Ingram,
Solid running
I
back.
like it. It's there. It's all right. Well, we got to do a look at this. I'm not a huge fan. This is one of those teams like it's good, but it's just not great. You got your running backs of Joe Mixon, Mark Ingram, and Jonathan Taylor.
I would
Mark
do a
Ingram
B
could
plus.
lose.
I would do a B plus on this team.
I'm gonna give him a B.
You give him a B? Okay, I would give him
I need a better quarterback over there for me to jump above a B.
Okay.
I'm at B minus.
I think the combination of DJ Chark, Devontae Parker, and Mecole Hardman or Reagor as like that really extreme upside class wide receiver that can really give you make or break a year, or make or break a week. And I think Tom Brady's going to be just fine there in Tampa Bay. I would say B plus. All right, next one we got Swill 87. We got Dalvin Cook, who we talked a lot about on the show. Mr. Holdout himself at the 105. Miles Sanders 208. Then went Adam Thielen, followed by David Johnson, Keenan Allen, Russell Wilson, Julian Edelman, Rob Gronkowski, Jordan Howard, Austin Hooper, Justin Jefferson, Daniel Jones, Golden Tate as Chicago Bears defense, and then Young Hoku. I would give this team a. I like his running backs a lot. His wide receivers are solid. I don't know if they present the most upside. I have my question marks on Keenan Allen and ultimately what he can be with Tyrod Taylor. I do think Adam Thielen will be absolutely peppered with targets, but then he also took Justin Jefferson, which means he's reliant heavily on that Minnesota Vikings passing game, which is going to be more. And he also has Dalvin Cook, so he might be. We might have just drafted. Yeah, we might have been just a Minnesota Vikings fan. So that limits the upside for me on this. So I would give this a B minus. B minus.
I would feel a lot. I'm just not a big Adam Thielen fan this year. I'd be a much bigger fan of this squad if he had taken Kenny Golladay instead of Adam Thielen, just to elevate that ceiling at the wide receiver slot, given Keenan Allen and Julian Edelman are his other top dogs over there, and given the new quarterback in Los Angeles and the new quarterback in New England, I'm not putting as much faith in those two guys as I had in years past. And Adam Thielen, I mean, I lost a championship because I didn't start Adam Thielen years ago. This is before Adam Thielen was Adam Thielen. And I'm just not feeling really stable in that situation. And Miles Sanders and Dalvin Cook, they're not stable in stable situations either. Miles Sanders is part of a team that likes to run 5 running backs a year, it seems like. And Dalvin Cook right now is not playing, and he didn't get Madison. So I'm a little nervous.
Yeah. Okay. We will move on to Bolt of Purple.
2 more.
Took Ezekiel Elliott, Austin Eckler, James Conner. So went running back heavy with his first 3 picks. Then he turned around Calvin Ridley, Robert Woods. Love both those wide receivers. Grabbed Raheem Mostert. Then took Brandon Cooks. Aaron Rodgers. Then he took my boy CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb in the 904 spot. Jared Cook. Then Zach Moss. Dallas Goedert, Brandon Ayuk, Denver Broncos, and Michael Bagley. I like this team. I think that this is probably the second or third best team. James Conner certainly is a swing for the fences kind of running back. We've seen what he could do when he is healthy. He does produce, and that is his third running back, his flex play. You look at his wide receivers, you could say maybe he might lack here, but Robert Woods, I absolutely love Robert Woods' value. I think he's being extremely undervalued. Calvin Ridley, a lot of people are on him to be a major breakout wide receiver this year. Brandon Cooks, we talked about how consistent he is as a wide receiver too, but people don't give him that credit. Raheem Mostert has the upside in case James Conner wasn't or isn't the guy. CeeDee Lamb, if just sit and wait. I like this team, so I would say this is probably the third best team that I have ranked. So I give it an A-.
One of the things for me that always keeps me back from really celebrating squads that have guys like Calvin Ridley, Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks, is that while these guys are very likely to have productive fantasy years, they don't have the high ceiling I'm looking for and is available at that wide receiver spot, given that these guys have other dudes most likely ahead of them on the depth chart. Now, Robert Woods could end up being Jared Goff's favorite target, but he's shown a deep love with Cooper Kupp, and I don't see him performing better than Cooper Kupp, which makes me I know there's another wide receiver on the team I'm rooting for. Same thing with Calvin Ridley. Julio Jones ain't going anywhere this year, barring health. And Brandon Cooks, if he is the number one guy, I'm a big Brandon Cooks fan. Dude gets 1,000 yards every single year. They brought him over there. They want him. But there is still Will Fuller. I mean, I asked you who you thought was going to be the guy, but I think it's going to be Will Fuller, barring health. And so when you got Calvin Ridley, Robert Woods, and Brandon Cooks as your wide receiver core, and none of them are the number one,
Robert
I'm just
Woods
not as
is
excited
the number
about
one.
it.
Robert Woods is definitely the number one. All right,
Maybe
that's an argument for another day. All right, we will get into this last team here. Master, I think it's Master Penny is supposed to be the long name, I think. Anyway, so Christian McCaffrey at number 1, followed by George Kittle, Mike Evans. So kind of the 3 elite strategy there. Marlon Mack, Kerryon Johnson, Cortland Sutton, Marvin Jones, Philip Lindsay, Latavius Murray, Mike Williams, Matthew Stafford, Los Angeles Chargers, Carlos Hyde, Zane Gonzalez, and Zane and the Membrane Gonzalez, and then Randall Cobb in the last round. Obviously, this is a really good team when you have CMC, George Kittle, and Mike Evans pairing, all paired together. Really, really like that. The running back depth after that, though, is a little bit of question marks. Marlon Mack in the 4th. I don't know if I would take Marlon Mack in the 4th at all. Kerryon Johnson in the 5th. We're not sure how much the workload is going to get there. Cortland Sutton. I do like Cortland Sutton a lot as your wide receiver too. I do. Marvin Jones. I am not on the Marvin Jones bandwagon like everyone else. I think that I'm fine with Marvin Jones. I think he's a solid wide receiver, but I don't think he's getting the upside. I don't think he has the upside that everyone thinks he does. Philip Lindsay, Latavius Murray. We talked about Philip Lindsay. I actually do think Philip Lindsay will push Melvin Gordon a lot more than people do think.
Austin Eckler pushed Melvin Gordon. You're going to tell me that Philip Lindsay's not going to push Melvin Gordon? Austin Eckler pushed Melvin Gordon. And that's no disrespect to Austin Eckler. I'm just saying. Maybe it's a little bit disrespect to Melvin Gordon, actually.
Yeah, it could be. Matthew Stafford, though, really, really love that pick. That's probably my favorite pick. Well, outside of the top 3, that's probably
great value.
Yeah, extremely great value. And so I would give this one. Again, we could see I would give this one a B+. I think it's I like the first 3 picks. I like the quarterback, but there's in the middle there's a little bit of lack of real depth, or I think there could have been taken I think instead of Marlon Mack, if they would have gotten DJ Moore, they would have taken DJ Moore instead of Marlon Mack. I would have really liked this team.
Yeah, there's just a couple of question marks over there. Marlon Mack, Kerryon Johnson, that makes me really nervous in that spot right there of maybe neither one of these guys actually starts.
Yeah.
Especially with the Marlon Mack one. You could have done something wild like taking Marlon Mack in the 4th and Jonathan Taylor there in the 5th. and really locked up that whole backfield. That's something that I would normally do, and people usually think that that's kind of ridiculous. I can make a strong case for doing something like that, though, and just locking up that backfield for two guys who are probably both going to be getting production. And if one goes down, you got an elite versus a situation like a Marlon Mack and a Kerryon Johnson where you might actually have no running back.
Yeah. All right. Well, that wraps up. Let us know what you guys think. Our chat tonight was popping. It was awesome. We appreciate you guys so much. We will be doing this again next Monday night. Big Travis should be back. We appreciate all the feedback as well that was going on. We are trying to get better. We want the best content for you guys. So we do appreciate the feedback. And Austin, thank you,
Johnny.
dude. Appreciate you jumping on here and helping carry the weight with me. It was
so much fun, guys. Just a shout out to everyone in the chat.
Yeah.
Love you guys. This is so much fun. Thank you for spending an hour and 45 minutes of your Monday evening with us. Really can't tell you how much fun this banter's been. I'm coming back next week with more analysis on Joe Mixon, on Saquon Barkley, on Christian McCaffrey, on CEH, on this Brady guy, Tom Brady. Everyone's talking about Tom Brady so much. Joey Brady, Philip Brady. I'm going to have the whole gambit on all the Bradys.
The Brady bunch.
Over here.
We should just turn into the Brady bunch next week.
Brilliant. All this stuff. I can't wait. So keep driving us. Love you guys. This is a blast. Can't wait to see you guys next week.
Thanks, Shaz. All right, buddy. Take it easy. For Austin Sear, I'm Johnny Game Time Hicks. We are the Fantasy Whisperers, and we're out of here. Peace.